welcome to my channel. Subscribe and enjoy daily stories about cheating, revenge, and relationship advice. The air in our bedroom felt different that morning, thick with a sense of dread I couldn't quite place. I had gotten used to waking up next to Stella, the love of my life, the woman I had vowed to cherish. Yet today, an unsettling feeling gnawed at me, creeping in like an unwelcome guest. As I prepared to leave for an early meeting, I caught a glimpse of her phone on the nightstand. Notifications flickered with a frequency that felt intrusive, the screen lighting up with messages I didn't recognize. I shrugged it off, dismissing my concerns as paranoia. Perhaps she was busy with work, a late-night project consuming her attention. But as I opened the front door, that primal instinct tugged at my gut. I stepped quietly down the hall, pausing at our bedroom door, which was slightly ajar. The faint sound of laughter echoed through the space, a sound I hadn't heard in days. With a deep breath, I pushed the door open, and what I saw shattered my world. Stella lay tangled in the sheets, not alone but with Corey, my gym trainer, his body glistening in the morning light, hers responding to his every touch. My heart thundered in my chest, and rage surged through me like fire. My hands trembled as I pulled out my phone, the lens capturing their betrayal in real time. "Stella!" I shouted, my voice thick with disbelief. "What the hell is going on?" They scrambled to cover themselves, eyes wide with shock and guilt. Stella's cheeks flushed, and for a brief moment, I saw genuine fear in her eyes. "Santiago, wait. It's not what it looks like," she stammered, her voice barely rising above a whisper. I couldn't process her words, all I felt was a boiling rage that threatened to consume me. "Not what it looks like. It looks like you're in bed with my trainer. How could you do this?" Corey attempted to stand, fumbling with the sheets. "Dude, let's just talk about this." "Talk? You think I want to talk? You're a snake. Both of you." I shouted, my heart racing as I captured the moment on video, documenting their betrayal as evidence. The lens revealed the truth, cold and unrelenting. Stella's expression shifted from shock to desperation. "Santiago, please. We made a mistake, a mistake. This isn't a mistake, Stella. This is betrayal." I shot back, each word like a dagger, slicing through the air between us. As they exchanged panicked glances, I took a step back, still filming, my heart breaking while my anger soared. "I can't believe this is happening. You both," I paused, trying to regain my composure. "I trusted you, Stella. I trusted you." "Stop recording." Corey barked, his bravado crumbling. "This isn't helping anyone." I shot him a look of disdain. "You think I care about what you want right now? You think I'm worried about helping you? You've ruined everything." With that, I stormed out of the room, the video still rolling in my hand. I needed to gather my thoughts, but as I paced the living room, I felt an overwhelming need to expose their betrayal. They deserved to face the consequences of their actions, and I would make sure they did. I grabbed my phone and dialed Stella's parents, the words pouring out in a rush. "Mr. and Mrs. Torres, you need to come over right away. There's something you need to see, about Stella." As I hung up, my heart raced with a mix of anger and anticipation. I wasn't going to let this go unpunished. This was only the beginning. The minutes felt like hours as I waited for Stella's parents to arrive. My hands shook, not just from the adrenaline coursing through my veins, but from the weight of the betrayal I had just witnessed. I glanced at the video on my phone, the image of Stella and Corey intertwined burned into my mind like a brand. Each second felt heavier, a countdown to the storm that was about to unfold in my living room. When the doorbell finally rang, I felt a mix of dread and resolve. I opened the door to find Stella's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Torres, standing on the porch, concern etched across their faces. "Is everything okay, Santiago?" her mother, Maria, asked, her brow furrowed. I forced a tight smile, gesturing for them to come inside. "Not really. We need to talk." As they stepped into the living room, I could see the apprehension in their eyes. I gestured for them to sit, the tension thickening the air. I have something important to show you, I said, my voice steady despite the chaos swirling inside me. Is this about Stella? Mr. Torres asked, his tone shifting from concern to caution. Yes, I replied, pulling up the video on my phone and projecting it onto the wall. As the images of Stella and Corey appeared, the room fell silent. I watched as their faces contorted from confusion to horror, their expressions morphing into shock as the realization set in. Oh my God, Maria whispered, covering her mouth with her hand. This is what your daughter has been doing behind my back, I said, my voice trembling with barely contained anger. With my trainer, no less. Mr. Torres, a usually composed man, clenched his fists. How could she do this? How could she betray you like this? I thought you raised her better than this. I snapped, unable to contain my frustration. She's tearing our lives apart, and all I get is betrayal. Don't speak to me like that. Maria shouted, her voice breaking. This is our daughter we're talking about. We need to talk to her. The door opened just as Maria finished her sentence, and Stella walked in, oblivious to the tense atmosphere. When she caught sight of her parents' faces, confusion spread across hers like wildfire. What's going on? Stella, her father said, his voice low and steady, we need to talk about what we just saw. What do you mean? She asked, her tone defensive. She scanned the room, her eyes landing on me, and the color drained from her face. Santiago, did you show them? Yes, I did, I replied, my anger flaring anew. They needed to see the truth. Stella's face crumpled as she realized what was happening. You had no right. You're supposed to be my husband, and you're supposed to be my wife. Yet here you are, caught in bed with another man. I shot back, my voice rising. You think I'd just sit back and let this happen without telling anyone? Why are you doing this? She asked, tears welling in her eyes. We can talk about it. I've talked enough, Stella. This isn't just some argument we can resolve over dinner. You destroyed everything we built together. Her mother stepped forward, her voice shaking. Stella, is this true? Did you really betray Santiago with Corey? Stella hesitated, glancing between her parents and me, but in that moment of silence, the weight of her guilt was palpable. I made a mistake, she finally admitted, her voice breaking. A mistake. Mr. Torres echoed, incredulous. This is more than a mistake, Stella. This is a choice you made. Corey, who had been quietly trying to compose himself, finally spoke up. I didn't mean for this to happen. It just, shut up, Corey. I barked, cutting him off. You're the last person I want to hear from right now. Stella turned to him, her expression a mix of desperation and anger. You don't get to talk either. You're just as much to blame. The tension escalated, voices rising, emotions spilling over. Maria stepped in, trying to calm the chaos. We need to sort this out, not fight among ourselves. I stepped back, taking a deep breath, trying to regain my composure. You both need to understand the consequences of your actions. This is not something we can just gloss over. You've hurt me, you've hurt your families, and it's not something that can just be forgiven. As the tears streamed down Stella's face, I felt a sense of victory mixed with despair. I had exposed the truth, but the pain was still fresh, the wound still raw. The confrontation had barely begun, and I knew this was only the start of a long road to healing, or perhaps the beginning of a bitter end. The confrontation with Stella and Corey had left a bitter taste in my mouth, but it also ignited a fire within me. Betrayal was a powerful catalyst, and I felt an overwhelming urge to reclaim control over my life. As I sat in my home office, the chaos of the morning swirling in my mind, a plan began to form, one that would serve as both personal retribution and professional justice. I scrolled through my phone, glancing at the video of their betrayal once more. The sight of Corey's smug face infuriated me, and I knew I needed to hit him where it hurt the most. I recalled a conversation I had overheard at the gym a few weeks prior about a confidential business deal involving my boxing promotion firm. It was clear that Corey had not just betrayed my trust but had also jeopardized my livelihood by leaking sensitive information to our competitors. I slammed my fist on the desk, adrenaline coursing through my veins. This was it. I wouldn't just confront him, I would turn the tables in a way that would leave them both reeling. That evening, I met with my friend and boxing promoter, Jake, at a local bar. The atmosphere was charged with the energy of the night, but all I could focus on was my plan. As I sipped my drink, I laid out the details to him. "Jake, I need your help," I said, leaning in closer. "I want to set up a boxing match, a public showdown between me and Corey." Jake raised an eyebrow, his interest piqued. "A match? You think that'll solve anything?" "It's more than just a match, it's about sending a message. I want to expose him for who he really is, and I want everyone to see it. He thinks he can walk away from this without consequences." Jake nodded slowly, contemplating my words. "I get it. But this isn't just about you and him in the ring, right? There's a lot of emotion tied to this." "Exactly. It's not just about revenge, it's about reclaiming my dignity," I replied, my voice steady. "And if we can draw a crowd, I'll make sure everyone knows why this fight is happening. I want the gym members, the trainers, even Stella's parents to see it. It's time for them to witness the consequences of their actions." "All right, I'm in," Jake said, his expression turning serious. "We'll set it up. But you need to be ready. Corey might come out swinging, both literally and figuratively." "Let him try," I said, a grim smile forming on my lips. "He's going to regret ever crossing me." As we mapped out the logistics, I felt a sense of clarity washing over me. This fight would be the culmination of my pain, the final act in a tragic play of betrayal. I could already envision the crowd gathered at the gym, their faces a mix of shock and excitement as they witnessed the fallout of my shattered trust. Over the next few days, I threw myself into training with a renewed focus. Each punch I threw in the gym was fueled by the anger and betrayal that had taken root in my heart. My trainer, Marco, could see the fire in my eyes. "Something's different about you, Santiago," he remarked one afternoon as I pounded the heavy bag with unrelenting intensity. "You're fighting like you have something to prove." "I do," I replied, my breath heavy with exertion. "I have to show Corey that he can't just walk away from this. He's going to pay for what he's done, not just to me but to everyone he's hurt. Just remember, it's not just about the fight. You need to keep your head clear," Marco advised, his tone serious. "Don't let your emotions get the best of you in the ring." "I know," I said, wiping the sweat from my brow. "But I need this. I need to turn this pain into something powerful." As the fight date approached, I spread the word, ensuring the gym was packed for the showdown. The air was thick with anticipation, and the thrill of it all only fueled my resolve. Each day brought me closer to the moment I had been waiting for, the moment when I would finally face Corey in front of everyone, turning my betrayal into a spectacle of retribution. The night before the match, I lay in bed, unable to sleep. Thoughts of Stella and Corey plagued my mind, but instead of despair, I felt a sense of empowerment. I had taken control of my narrative, transforming my pain into motivation. In the morning, I would step into that ring, not just as a fighter, but as a man determined to reclaim his life. The world would see the truth, and I would rise from the ashes of betrayal, stronger than before. The crowd buzzed with excitement, a palpable energy vibrating through the air as I stood in the dimly lit boxing ring. The gym was packed, faces familiar and foreign alike, all drawn to the spectacle of a fight fueled by betrayal. I could feel the weight of their gazes, curiosity mixed with anticipation, as they waited to witness the fallout of my shattered trust. Corey was already in the ring, his demeanor a facade of confidence, but I could see the tension in his shoulders, the way his fists clenched at his sides. This wasn't just about pride, it was about exposing the man behind the curtain, the coward who had betrayed me in the most intimate way. The bell rang, echoing in the hushed space, and I stepped forward, adrenaline coursing through my veins. The roar of the crowd faded, and all I could focus on was the man in front of me. "You ready to face the music, Corey?" I taunted, my voice steady as I circled him. Save it, Santiago. This isn't over until I say it is, he shot back, his bravado wavering. I could sense his unease, and it fueled my resolve. We exchanged punches, each blow a release of pent-up rage. With every jab I threw, I felt the pain of betrayal dissipating, replaced by a sense of empowerment. I remembered Stella's tear-streaked face, her desperate pleas for forgiveness, and the anger swelled within me, fueling my movements. After a few rounds of trading blows, I finally landed a solid punch to Corey's jaw, sending him stumbling back against the ropes. The crowd erupted, and I could see faces lighting up with excitement. How does it feel to be on the receiving end? I yelled, my voice cutting through the chaos. Just you wait, Corey spat, wiping blood from the corner of his mouth. This isn't over yet, but I was relentless, each punch I threw a reminder of the trust he had shattered. Finally, in the third round, I saw my opportunity. I feinted to the left, then launched a powerful right hook that connected with Corey's jaw, sending him crashing to the mat. The crowd gasped, the atmosphere thick with disbelief as he hit the canvas hard. As he struggled to get back on his feet, I stepped back, my chest heaving as I took in the moment. The referee began the count, but I wasn't done yet. I grabbed the microphone, turning my back to Corey, ready to address the audience. This fight isn't just about me and Corey, I said, my voice steady. It's about betrayal and the consequences of your actions. This man thought he could take everything from me and walk away without facing the fallout. But here we are. This is what happens when you betray someone who trusts you. The crowd erupted into cheers and applause, and I felt a rush of exhilaration. I had turned my pain into power, my rage into a spectacle that others could witness. Corey finally got to his feet, visibly shaken. You think this makes you a man? He shouted, his voice laced with anger and desperation. You're just a coward hiding behind a boxing match. I stepped closer, locking eyes with him. No, Corey. A coward is someone who betrays his friends. A coward is someone who thinks he can just take without consequences. With one final blow, I knocked him down again, and the referee called the match. The bell rang, and I raised my fists in victory, the crowd roaring in approval. I had won, not just the match, but my dignity, my pride. As the crowd slowly dispersed, I climbed out of the ring, my heart racing with adrenaline and relief. Jake met me with a wide grin, clapping me on the back. You did it, man. That was incredible. Thanks, Jake, I said, panting as I wiped the sweat from my brow. I needed this. More than I thought. Just then, I spotted Stella standing at the edge of the crowd, her expression a mixture of anger and anguish. I walked towards her, determined to confront the fallout of our shattered relationship. Why, Santiago? Why would you humiliate me like this? She demanded, her voice trembling with emotion. Humiliate you? You did that to yourself, Stella. You chose to betray me, to betray our marriage. I just made sure everyone knew the truth, I replied, my tone firm. But this isn't how we should have handled things. We could have talked it out, she pleaded, tears glistening in her eyes. Talked it out? After you slept with my trainer? I don't think so, I shot back, feeling the anger bubble up again. You had your chance, and you threw it away. Don't come to me now wanting sympathy. As I turned to leave, Corey approached, his face still bruised and battered from the fight. You think this changes anything? He spat, his pride clearly wounded. You've won a match, but you've lost a wife. I paused, looking back at him. No, Corey. You lost a friend. I'm done with both of you. I'm moving on. With that, I walked away, feeling a weight lift from my shoulders. In the days that followed, I poured myself into my boxing promotion business, channeling my energy into something positive. I surrounded myself with supportive friends and began rebuilding my life, focusing on what mattered most to me. The road ahead was still uncertain, but I felt stronger, more empowered than I had in months. The betrayal had stung deeply, but I refused to let it define me. I was ready to write a new chapter, one where I was in control of my own narrative, a chapter of healing, growth, and new beginnings.